I think that you are making the mistake of inhabiting the minds of females as you view this. And you're like, they don't get along intellectually. They're not really connecting, cerebrally. You guys, Justin Baldoni is hot as fucking shit. Ryan Reynolds saw that. I'm sorry, but it's literally that simple. Well, everyone, we are so excited for this episode today. We are getting into the Justin versus Blake Lively war, okay? It's not a battle, everyone. It is a full-blown war. And who better to join us than Deuxmoi?
I cannot believe Deuxmoi came on our podcast.
Here's what I loved about the episode. I felt like she really had information that I didn't know about and seemed like highly verified. Like she had a very strict criteria for what information she would release and what she would not. And I don't know. I feel like she knows her stuff.
She absolutely knows her stuff. So fun to chat with. We get into, kind of her thoughts on the case. She hasn't shared those before. We really dig into the voice memo between Justin and Blake and some of the Taylor Swift issues and all of that.
We're getting into all the recent developments, everyone. So we're chatting the Candace Owens theory that Ryan Reynolds is a jealous husband, and this is all him using the legal system to both abuse his wife and ruin Justin Baldoni. We go through the Taylor Swift of it all, as you said. It's such a good episode. So please enjoy us getting into all the updates on Blake and Justin. And then we are chatting on part 5 about all the new pieces of information in the timeline. So the timeline was dropped by Brian Friedman on the new website. And we are getting into all the new pieces of information, walking you through all of it. It's a painstaking, huge episode, and it's all for premium subscribers. Part 5, you'll be able to join on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Patreon, YouTube members. It's available everywhere. So on Thursday, get ready for part 5 as well.
All right, enjoy the episode.
Thank you so much for joining Pop Apologist. Is that correct, how you prefer to be addressed in this life?
Yes, in this life, yes.
Oh my gosh. We are so excited to have you on Pop Apologist today. It's so funny. We are obviously off camera because you are anonymous. So it's just going to be fun to sit down and chat all of the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively drama. That's kind of what we want to get into today. Are you down?
Yeah, it's so funny because I was talking to my friend last week and he was like, do you know those two blonde girls who talk about... who are Team Justin? And I was like, wait, I think I'm going on their podcast on Monday. And then I was like, oh my God, I totally am. Yeah, sure.
That is so funny.
I know.
Oh, I'm so flattered. Well, I think it's perfect to have you on because you don't bring a fully Team Justin approach to this subject matter, correct?
Well, I don't feel like I bring a team anyone. I think I bring team logic and common sense, but people on the internet, if you're not bashing Blake Lively, you're automatically Team Blake. And I've never said that. I've literally never said that. I've only given my opinion on, I think, 2 points in their early lawsuits. That's it. One was the wardrobe. And one was her 30 list of complaints. That's all I've ever really given my opinion. Oh, no. And the smear campaign, which actually would be pro-Justin because I don't think there was a smear campaign. So there you go.
Perfect. Okay, I think that team logic, team reason, team objectivity is what we really strive for as well. And what I really do think most people are wanting. And when Chandler and I were first going over the case, we looked over Blake's side and we were very Team Blake because we just thought, oh my gosh, he's talking about his porn addiction. He's like...
Yeah, there were points in her complaint that were just sort of like irrefutable, if that's, if that's the right word. Things that were just like, there's no excuse for this whatsoever. But then after we dug into Justin's side of things, it felt like so much was contextualized. And I feel like Lauren and I are just like now swimming in the sea of, Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, all the things. And yeah, I feel like there is still just like so much we need to understand about what actually happened. But it feels like Blake's side of things was definitely skewed, in my opinion.
Well, I feel like that since the timeline has been released, it fill in some holes for me because my whole issue was what was her motivation, right? That was missing in a lot of the first 3 lawsuits. Where did this all go wrong? because it seemed like they had an amicable relationship in the beginning. And at some point, something happened and it turned. And we weren't really getting a clear picture of what that was. I read the timeline, and for me, I could pinpoint one or two places according to his timeline. Now, I would love for her to release a timeline. I feel like she needs to release more information. She's not going to, because she's probably mortified by the fact that he's making all of this public. But according to his timeline, the latest piece of evidence, I felt that some of the pieces were missing, but I agree. I think there still is some things that we don't know. And you could read her 30 list of complaints or accusations and say, yeah, you know, he didn't mean X, Y, and Z, but we don't know how she felt. It could have been offensive to her. And I know that people are looking at the evidence and saying, it doesn't seem like it was offensive to her. Look how she was texting him. Look how they were communicating. But we still need to hear from her. She could argue, or her side can argue, she was trying to create an amicable working environment after some awkwardness. So I still think that we need to hear more. And
absolutely,
you know, you can't make a decision based on what's in front of us in black and white. I think this needs to go to trial, and we need to hear from them on a witness stand.
I want to double tap on something you pointed out, because I was in a similar struggle, like trying to figure out where everything went so wrong, you know, where it really started to end with us, because it started off so good. And, you know, we have their text messages. We have so many literal receipts showing how everything started off on like a great foot. And, you know, even have like more and more evidence, like Justin texting Ryan Reynolds at the very beginning of everything, just to sort of like establish a rapport. And yeah, I think that something I just feel totally confused by is like, okay, where was the moment where everything shifted for this? Why, you know, did the things really start to totally go south? And then Blake doubles down, and then you get into like post-production and things just totally spiral.
So I think I want to discuss this because our original theory when we read his lawsuit was that she wanted to take over complete control of the film, and she started off with the wardrobe. She started off with taking a pass at the script, and when it was clear he wasn't going to just completely let her be the director, our theory then was that was when she kind of turned and was like, well, I'm just going to use these allegations as a way of getting everything I want. That was where we ended up. But then in the past week, the internet's favorite commentator, Candace Owens, has hit the scene with a big theory. I never in my life did I think all of the Pop Apologist listeners would be like, girl, you got to go to Candace Owens stories. Like, that was not on my vision board. But anyway, Candace Owens has come up with a theory, and that's that Ryan Reynolds, he went on set, he saw the dailies, was very freaked out by the visible chemistry between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. A source, one of her sources apparently said that they got into an audible fight in her trailer, and thereafter he was constantly on set basically as a chaperone, and that this entire lawsuit, according to Candace, is Ryan Reynolds using the legal system to abuse his wife and get back at Justin Baldoni. Where do you land on Candace's theory?
Well, first of all, I don't see how he could have came on set and asked to see the dailies when she was asking the whole entire time to see them and they weren't handing them over to her. So that part didn't really make sense to me. I mean, it's in the lawsuit. There's literal text messages where she's like, can I see the dailies? And I think also in his timeline, July 19th, 2023, she asked twice. Lively again reaches out to check in with Baldoni during the SAG strike to inquire about the assembly cut and to request access to the dailies for a second time. Her first request was on June 13th. So they weren't giving her the dailies. Why does anyone think that he walked on set and they showed him the dailies? So that part of the theory, to me, falls flat. I don't also think that Blake Lively has any sort of romantic feelings for Justin Baldoni. Like, that to me is also completely ridiculous. I had a source as well who didn't see Ryan on set. Now, I'm not saying he was never there. After I said that, somebody sent me a video of him on set in Jersey City or Hoboken. I never said he wasn't there. It just happens to be I asked my source who's in the movie, he wasn't there towards the end of filming on the time that they filmed the birthday scene. So that's how I feel about that theory. I don't sounds true to me.
It's such an astute point because we have all of these text messages back and forth. And I just thought of this as you were speaking, but there would definitely be a message from Justin Baldoni to Jamie Heath that's like, something happened after Ryan came on set. And he also would have mentioned, like, first we had to give her husband the dailies, and he's not even involved in this movie at all.
Right. He's also not, I don't think he's suing Ryan Reynolds. I think he's suing Blake Lively. If Ryan had that much of a hand behind the scenes, and let me tell you something I want to say, I think he did. I just don't think it was as known as everyone thinks. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think he stormed on set and they got in a fight. But that doesn't mean I don't think he had a big part in this. I do.
And I think that, you know, when she revealed to the journalist on the red carpet that he had a key hand in rewriting the rooftop scene, I think that was a moment when they were all like, what? He did? Behind the scenes, they fire off all these emails. And that's kind of one of the only mentions of Ryan Reynolds in all of their communications. It's all centered around Blake Lively. So I agree. I think that his pulling the strings was very behind the scenes.
Well, and like, I think this theory then sort of undercuts this idea, like all of the text messages from Blake where she's like wanting to talk about making creative passes, the script and everything. Like if that was just like Ryan Reynolds behind the scenes telling her to, hey, you know, rewrite the rooftop scene. I actually think she truly wanted to put her spin on everything.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think this was just like, she was just like a puppet for Ryan. What I will say about the dailies is I think that potentially where he could have seen their chemistry, if real chemistry, you know, existed between the two of them and there were actual feelings, was in maybe that like 5-hour playlist that Justin sent Blake. So maybe Ryan wasn't seeing the dailies, you know, early on in production and filming, but then once Blake was sent things from Justin, Ryan could have seen it then and then brought the hammer down.
But that was later on in filming. That was like...
Right. That was during the strike.
Yeah, but then things, you know, progress and go further and further south after that with Blake.
The strike is when everything goes to shit. And she suddenly comes with that huge list of demands for them to return to production.
That's when she was in, I believe she was in London with Ryan. They were together. And that's when she's, you know, wanting to look at the dailies or whatever. And then Justin is sending her that 5-hour playlist or whatever. And I think that could have been a moment where Ryan saw things that he was like, it's not cool with me.
I think it's a very astute point because, you know, there is just something ultra personal about the way Ryan Reynolds has treated this entire situation with creating the nice pool character and going after and really bullying Justin Baldoni, who is in no way professionally a threat to him.
Right.
There's something weird there. So maybe he does feel threatened romantically by Justin Baldoni.
Yeah. And I also am with you, Deu. I don't actually think Blake was into Justin. I don't think that there was this like, and I don't think Justin was into Blake. I don't think there was this like kind of like brewing love connection, you know, that was just like palpable. I don't know. I'm not buying that. I think that it was respectful.
I watched the movie 3 times. Okay. And
gosh. Sorry for that. Wow.
I don't think they had great chemistry. I thought that she acted really awkward around him. Now, I don't know if that was her acting because, you know, the character obviously, spoiler alert, but, you know, physically abuses her. But I feel like that they were awkward. I didn't think there was much chemistry, to be honest.
And if you watch that scene that was released last week, the 10-minute long, you know, just raw cut of them dancing, their communication is like fraught.
Weird.
Like, you can tell that they're not like, you know, she's talking about how she thinks that they should just be talking the whole time, not actually kissing or canoodling. She says that that's what her and Ryan do. And then he's like, that's cute. And then she's like, I think it's more than cute. It's just like, these people are not on the same page.
You guys, I think that you are making the mistake of inhabiting the minds of females as you view this. And you're like, they don't get along intellectually. They're not really connecting, you know, cerebrally. You guys, Justin Baldoni is hot as fucking shit. Ryan Reynolds saw that. I'm sorry, but it's literally that simple.
You think he was just so hot?
I got the chills.
Struggling to find words.
When I saw.
You're a married woman.
I'm a married woman, but I got the chills when I saw Justin Baldoni in that dancing scene. He's hot as hell. And I think that's all it took for Ryan Reynolds to get very jealous.
Yes. Yeah.
That could definitely be the case. When I read the timeline, I felt that the point that everything turned was in April of 2023, because in that 1 month, she asks him about the rooftop pages. And we all know how that went. And then that's also the month, I believe, that her weight issue comes into play. And Baldoni goes to the penthouse and I'm reading the timeline right now, and he's greeted by Reynolds, who swore at Baldoni and accused him of fat shaming his wife.
Yes.
Now, you know that was obviously a point for him because he put it in the movie. I want to say Daredevil. What the hell's the movie called?
Deadpool?
Deadpool, yeah. He put that point in the movie. See, everyone's like, he was jealous, but maybe he was just defending his wife. You could also look at it from that way. And listen, I'm not a Ryan Reynolds apologist, and I've posted shit about Ryan Reynolds, and people have attacked me about it. This is months ago. So I agree with everything you're saying, like his ego, and maybe there was some jealousy, but I just don't think it was in a romantic sense. Maybe he was just jealous of, like you said, because Justin Baldoni is a hotter version of Ryan Reynolds. Because something happened to Ryan Reynolds. Don't you remember when he was like so hot 20 years ago?
It's so funny that you say that because I had the exact same thought. I used to think that him and Ryan Gosling were like neck and neck for like hot Ryan in Hollywood. And then I literally this past week, I was like, was he just never that hot?
Oh my God. I think he's
what happened?
Age. I swear to God, or stress. Maybe he's under a tremendous amount of stress. Something happened to his face. Something happened. It changed. It shifted.
I mean, it's
literally shifted.
It's a truly horrible conversation to have, but it's had about women all the time.
Oh my God.
I feel like it's fair. But honestly, it's just myth busts the idea that men age so much better. I mean, the same thing has happened to Bradley Cooper. It is just like...
Yes, there was like a tipping point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's like a tomato on the counter. All of a sudden, it's over.
Nice. Sorry. We're going to really get the great YouTube comments with that one. Lauren, you and I both have a trip coming up where we are wanting to look our best.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness we have Clean Simple Eats.
I had a scoop of the Simply Vanilla this morning, just mixed with cold water. I swear, everyone, it tasted like melted ice cream. It's so good, and it gives you the cleanest energy. It feels amazing. It's 20 grams of clean grass-fed protein. I'm so obsessed with Clean Simple Eats protein powder. I'm so grateful they're a sponsor.
Everyone, go to cleansimpleeats.com, use our code POPAPOLOGIST for 10% off. We love their clear protein. We love their Simply Vanilla chocolate brownie batter and their new unflavored protein powder that can go into anything.
You guys, Clean Simple Eats is the way to get the protein that you need. And we all know that getting a lot of protein in is the key to building muscle mass, to maintaining your vigor, your youth, your vitality.
Yes.
And the way to do that is with Clean Simple Eats and using our code, bitches. Love ya.
POPAPOLOGIST for 10% off.
CleanSimpleEats.com.
Lauren, so a friend was telling me the other day how much she loves the early bird tincture. She says it's like the best night's sleep of her life, and that's a very like subtle feeling.
Okay, I need to try the tincture. I've only tried the gummies. You know I'm obsessed with the gummies. I've turned on so many friends to them. I feel like what's special about Early Bird is the formulation. It's 12.5 milligrams CBD, 2.5 milligrams THC. So it just makes you feel so warm and melty, relaxed, gooey.
Yeah, I feel like there's no worry that I'm going to be too in my head.
Mm-hmm.
It's just cozy, and it's just an easy way to take the edge off and have the most amazing night's sleep.
You guys, if you have not tried Early Bird gummies, they're a life changer, and honestly, the bottle is big. It lasts a long time. Go to earlybirdcbd.com, use code POP20 for 20% off, a big discount.
Huge discount.
Earlybirdcbd.com, use code POP20 for 20% off.
No, but I also want to say, you guys, I think Ryan Reynolds' personality also kind of did him in a bit. Like, I think the internet got sick of we're so self-deprecating. We're going to hear our clapback Instagram captions for each other, you know, on our birthdays or whatever. I think that people got like kind of icked out by like the Ryan Reynolds shtick.
I mean, his text message to Justin Baldoni is like,
oh my gosh,
city.
It's so cringy. I feel like let's hold off on reading that because Chandler and I are going to do a full like breakdown after this of the timeline. So let's hold off on reading that. I have a question for you. Going back to the moment when Blake sends the Khaleesi dragon text.
Right.
And Justin Baldoni sends a 7-minute voice memo to her at 2 a.m., which was leaked by his team.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should roundtable our thoughts on this voice memo. Did it seem creepy? Did it seem like he was making her uncomfortable? Or did it seem that, you know, how did you guys feel about it?
Well, first of all, I felt like I can't believe coworkers like get this involved via text and voice note. Like my text to my coworkers are like one-word answers. Okay, thank you. The paragraphs and the drama and the emotion behind the communication, is it normal? Maybe that's how actors communicate.
The flattery I was hearing on those messages, I'm like, are these people on Molly at 2 a.m. at Coachella? Because that's the only place I've ever been where people talk like this.
It's so valid. It's like Shakespeare or something. Like, I don't know how the fuck that they even like conjure up these sentences. I'm going to be honest with you. That's what I thought.
So cringy. Cringing through all of it. I felt like he was having to placate her so
he
hard.
placates her the whole time in the lawsuits. He's constantly placating her. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's when everyone's like, they have feelings and, you know, there was something between them. Like, do people not know the dynamics of a workplace? Like, he's completely placating her the whole time. And he even tells his producers sometimes, like, I'm just trying to manage her, basically.
Yes. Yeah, I think the power dynamic is very clear that he is afraid of her.
Right. And that's because I'm sure that she throws the weight of the Reynolds name around. Because if it was just a single woman, Blake Lively, and she wasn't married to Ryan Reynolds, I think people don't realize how much power he has in Hollywood. That's what
I still need that, you know, elucidated for me. Because it's a mystery to me. I did not know that he was so powerful.
Yeah, that's why all of this went down. I mean, think about it. If Blake Lively was married to Penn Badgley, do you think that this is how it would have gone down? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that goes back to him pulling the strings behind the scene, which I think that he did. I also don't think that she's innocent in all this. Like, I think that she wants to be seen in the same light and respected in the same light that he is in Hollywood from their peers. I'm not talking about the court of public opinion. That's separate. I'm talking about in the industry.
Yes, I think this movie was her opportunity to really like rise to his level, if you will.
Yes.
Like, I'm making a movie. I'm going to get the PGA credit. This is like, you know, this is my big project and my Oscar play.
Exactly.
Right. And I think she almost came at it with men get to strong arm and take over things and just basically abuse people in the workplace all the time. So why can't I as a woman? It was like a really weird way, really roundabout, like faux feminist way of just acting so inappropriately.
Yeah.
Like, Ryan does this, why can't I?
Well, the thing with Blake Lively is, and I think people like realize this, but they're only realizing it from her past interviews, is that she doesn't really have a great reputation. Her attitude, it's not new to this movie.
Right. All the documentation of her being rude to people. I just feel like Justin Baldoni's PR team didn't manufacture that with AI, you know? That's real footage.
No, right. I mean, that's what I said. And that's like, you know, I said from day one, I don't think that there was a smear campaign. I think it happened naturally. I was there. I was part of the audience that was watching this all play out and go down on social media in real time. And to me, it didn't seem like anything was planted. And I said this, I don't know who found that first video. Like, trace IPs, like see who was the first person to like post the video of congratulations on your little bump. Because I feel like that after they were criticizing her for the way she was marketing the movie, that was the next big thing that contributed to her social media downfall, that interview. And then once that came out, all the other ones came out, and there's still interviews coming out now. I still see new ones on TikTok that people are pulling up that weren't in the first round. Is the smear campaign going? No. People are finding shit on the internet and they're posting it because they know it gets them good engagement.
We have a personal Blake Lively story that I'm just going to spill.
Okay.
So our friend was dating someone in Park City, and this person knew Blake Lively, and the person, they broke up. Okay. And this is alleged, this is hearsay, this is what our friend told us, but we do believe our friend. And what this person says is that Blake Lively, when he told her about the breakup, she was like really happy about it. And that quote, he can do better than a single mom.
She said no more single moms.
That's so rude.
Is that not atrocious?
Yeah, I hope she's never a single mom.
Like, it's not even something you would say to like your girlfriends in a petty moment. It's like, who talks like that?
It's not even something I think.
Right.
I don't categorize single moms as somehow less desirable. If anything, I'm like, that is just the most brave thing to do on your own, and like such a position in life that is like would be so difficult.
Right. Hardest job in the world.
And it's most important, raising the continuation of the species. Thank you. I think that kind of malevolence, if it's true, is deplorable. But okay, another question for you. Do you think that, going back to the It Ends With Us drama, do you think that this was all a big scheme with Colleen Hoover to get the rights back? Because there is the clip where Blake Lively says, the interviewer asks, like, is there going to be an It Starts With Us? Like, what's next? And Blake says, if Colleen has the rights, I will follow her anywhere. That's a pretty weird thing to say.
Yeah, well, I heard from a very reliable source on my end, like reliable meaning I believe them, that right now he still has the right
Yeah.
to everything. So I don't know. I mean, and now also everyone's saying that there's this clause that if he does something out of pocket, that she gets the rights back. But did someone see this clause? Like, I keep asking people, like, is it in one of the legal documents?
Because all I know, is that it's a
rumor.
morality clause or something, and that, like, I think it's sexual harassment.
But I don't know if it's a rumor or if it's real, because I've asked, again, my reliable source, and they didn't know anything about it, and that's when they said he still has the right. So that could just be a rumor. And then I also, because a lot of people know about this morality clause. This, like, to me, it's like a mystery. Like, where is it? Did somebody see it, like, in a document? Is it in one of the legal documents and we missed it? Somebody said to me, because I asked them, I said, well, is it if he's found guilty? Or, you know what I mean? Like, or is it if he just gets accused? Like, what is it? And they didn't know. So I think it's a rumor. I don't think that's real.
Yeah, on the TikTok I watched about this,
Yeah, exactly.
From my reputable source, it did seem to be cited as like there is this clause in his contract, but you're right, it could just be a total rumor. I do still think though that it's a weird thing to say.
Oh, yeah. So back to what she said. Yeah, I mean, maybe in the back of her mind there was some way that he could get the rights back, because also I am so confused, I'm sorry, between like truth and fiction, because I get so much information from people sending me stupid fucking TikToks, and then you read the documents, which is why I like to just read the documents, right? I don't want to hear anyone's takes. I don't want to hear theories. I want to read the documents and make my own decision.
I think that it's also important to note that Colleen Hoover probably saw that, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively wanted to bring this The It Ends With Us brand under their purview, and they wanted to potentially take this much further than Wayfair Studios could have. And there could be a monetary motive here on the part of Colleen Hoover.
Also, they're a bigger name to hitch your wagon to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I have a question. So why didn't they just buy the right originally? Because Justin beat them to it?
I think he was already like in communication with Colleen Hoover years before.
Okay.
Like, I think this has been like a long
it was 5
project
years
for him. And then, then Blake Lively came on as like primary talent or whatever.
And knowing that she's never read the book, I don't think she even knew about it.
Do we think that she didn't know about it? She didn't read the book. She was hired to act in it. She started to hear, wow, Colleen Hoover is like such this big force in like the literary world. She has this huge following, and this movie's about domestic violence, and it could, it's a great part. And then she was like, light bulb, I want the right. Like, do we think that's how it happened? Because like I said, why didn't she just try to get it earlier?
Well, I think that's exactly what happened. And I think that she potentially thought this could be my Deadpool and Wolverine situation.
Okay. Right. That's a good point.
And I think once she got like a taste of like control over the movie, it was exactly what you said, like this was going to be her thing.
She probably didn't know about it. You're right. She probably didn't know about it, got hired for the job, and was like, wow, this could be like you just said. Why isn't anyone saying that? Because that to me is the best theory I've heard so far. She's like, this could be my Deadpool I want in, and she tried to really insert herself in every aspect of writing, wardrobe, intimacy coordination.
It needed to be Blake Lively's interpretation of It Ends With Us.
Well, and maybe that's why it was so important for her to have his name removed, so it didn't say a film by Justin Baldoni.
If you look at the movie poster, like the one that actually, it just says like Blake Lively. It's like her name is at the top, then it says It Ends With Us. I think Colleen Hoover's name is on it, but like it is just, compared to the original one, like where there were 3 names on it, like it is the Blake Lively It Ends With Us movie.
And she would not promote the film unless they removed it. So like you said, it's completely diabolical.
Well, let me ask you a question. Now, do you think that all of this happened because she was trying to take it over? Or do you think all this happened because he pissed her off with the rooftop scene and the alleging of the fat shaming? Do you know what I'm saying? If those two things didn't happen, do you think that we would have ended up at a better place? Even though she wanted to take it over, do you think like if he didn't do things that she's perceiving, now we can't say how somebody perceives the situation. We could look at the 30 complaints and say, this doesn't seem like a big deal, but to her it could have been. Like that's my problem. That's what I argue with people. You can't say like how she feels in the moment. We need to hear from her. We haven't really heard from her.
The problem, though, is that she's not really a reliable narrator anymore, right? Like, she kind of has said through this complaint how she, in theory, feels, and I just don't think she's going to go on the record and be like, actually, it was totally fine.
No, she's definitely not. The point is, like, the things that she listed in her complaint happened because he responded to a lot of them. It's just how she's perceiving they happened and how he's perceiving they happened aren't linking up. And that's where people are, saying she lied and he didn't do anything wrong. But I feel like, how can we say that she didn't feel uncomfortable in those situations? We don't know.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Chan. Sometimes life gets a little complicated. Meet Lainey, played by Amy Schumer, who's got a problem. Her best friend is pregnant, and Lainey's feeling a little left behind. So she decides to take matters into her own hands and fakes being pregnant herself. Kinda Pregnant takes a sharp and funny look at the messiness of life and the lies we tell, whether it's to impress someone, protect a friendship, or just to keep up. Kinda Pregnant doesn't shy away from the truth and is about so much more than just a fake pregnancy. It's about the ups and downs of relationships, the challenges we face as women, and the moments when we get caught up in something we never intended to. It's real, it's funny, and it's refreshingly honest. Set in New York City, the film brings the city's energy to life, capturing the vibe of iconic spots like Central Park and the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens, all while exploring the complex dynamics of female friendships. With a stellar cast, including Will Forte, Jillian Bell, Brienne Howie, and Damon Wayans Jr., in addition to Amy Schumer, Kinda Pregnant is a comedy that'll make you laugh, but will also make you feel so ready to hug all your best girlfriends. Watch Kinda Pregnant, now playing only on Netflix.
The problem, though, is that a lot of the things that she says happened didn't happen. They just fully didn't happen. Like when she said that she was mostly naked in the birthing scene and just had a small strip in her complaint, it makes it sound like she just had a small strip of fabric covering her genitalia, but was otherwise nude from the chest down. And then in his lawsuit, it says that she had black briefs on,
Like a pregnancy stomach.
and something covering her stomach and a hospital gown on. She was in no way nude. And so that's where she starts to lose really any trustworthiness, because there's just like outright lies that are very damning.
To me, I say, then let's take it to court. There was 1 million people on set that day. Get one of them on the stand and let's find out the truth. That's what I say to the points that like don't make sense, like you're saying.
That is such a fascinating side of all this, because I just want to know, like, where are the other actors in all of this? Where's Jenny Slate? Like, I know there are some, like, the other actors whose, like, names are all escaping me, but, like, the people who play young Lily and young Atlas and Brandon, I can't remember his last name, but the guy who plays older Atlas, like, all of them are, like, radio silent. And people have to know what actually happened on set. Are all of those people just, silenced, to quote Oprah, by like the Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively Hollywood machine? Or do they actually know more and are afraid to, I don't know. Are they afraid to speak out?
I think they're afraid to speak out. And I know that there are people who were on set that are also afraid to speak out. Like, obviously, I don't know who Candace Owens' source is, but I know that first ADs and like PAs, like, they're zipping it. Like, they're not saying shit.
And
it's a legal matter.
Do you think they're afraid of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, or do you think they're afraid of the public, which is so Team Justin?
Both. I don't think they're afraid of Team Justin. I think they're afraid of getting involved in a legal matter, and I think they're probably afraid of Ryan and Blake, like kind of like you'll never work in this town again vibes,
I mean, didn't Ryan like say to the WME person, like, I can't believe you have a sexual predator? They are, not afraid of blacklisting people or trying to get them blacklisted.
So I'm with WME. So I asked one of my agents, and I was like, "Are you guys with WME?"
No, we're not.
No. Oh, okay. I'm with the WME, and so I said to one of my agents, I'm like, "What's the truth?" I'm like, and she was like, "I honestly don't know. Now, I don't know if she's lying to me, but come on, like, you work in the office, like, there must be whispers of like really what happened." She said she didn't know, but I'm dying to know if they were like, it's us or him.
So here's something that I think sheds a lot of light here. If they're not afraid of Team Justin, the only people they would be afraid of are Ryan and Blake. And on set, they saw inappropriate behavior. They saw things that validated her case. They would not be afraid to say those things. So in my opinion, the fact that everyone is silent is because they can't corroborate her claims and they don't want to go against her. That to me is very damning.
That's why it needs to go to trial. Like, maybe there'll be witnesses called. I want to hear from third parties. Like, I'm not saying I don't believe Blake or I don't believe Ryan. I don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
So I need to hear from other people that were there. Like I said, the timeline filled in a lot of holes meaning theories, because we still don't know. I really want to know, like, where it all turned. Like, what went wrong? Like, what pissed her off so bad? Besides the fact, like you guys said, that she came in premeditated to take over the film, which could be true. Why couldn't she just have done that but not have added all the other things? Like, something else happened. And like I said, I think maybe it was his response to her writing and the alleged fat shaming that really, like, she was like, fuck this guy, Ryan, let's get him. Let's get him. And that's what it looks like on the timeline.
Okay, I want to get your thoughts on this because this is something you can speak to. Since you weren't on set and we don't have any third parties here today, let's get to something that is definitely in your domain of expertise. And so the only person in the celebrity sphere that's really speaking out about this is Justin Anderson, which is interesting. And he left a comment on Daily Dose of Donna, one of her reels. We love her. And he said on one of her reels, the amount of people in Hollywood just, all caps, waiting to finally share their Blake and Ryan horror stories. That's when it's going to get good. They know it's coming too. Okay, you must have heard if there are all these horror stories.
Yeah.
I mean,
there are. Blake,
there are.
Yeah, I've talked about them. I did a whole podcast segment on it in 2022 or 2023.
Wow.
Blake, yes. A little bit on Ryan. I did a whole segment actually on Ryan as well last year, but I'm trying to remember what it said. Yeah, I agree with that statement, Justin Anderson.
So now I have to ask as well, because the internet is in your DMs, are you getting stories about Justin Baldoni? I mean, obviously a lesser known name, but are people DMing you, please, don't share, but this is what happened with Justin Baldoni and I?
Yes, I have received some on Justin Baldoni. I've also received some anonymous emails, which is very different. People don't understand the distinction between anonymous emails and DMs. DMs, I could see who is messaging me.
Right.
And many times I know their full name. I can have a back and forth conversation with them. So that's much more reliable. Anonymous emails, obviously the person does not want to be known. So at one point, and this was early on, this was before the lawsuits, I did receive some emails about Justin Baldoni that were not in his favor. I did not read them or publish them.
Okay.
Because they were very unflattering towards Justin Baldoni. But now, knowing what we know, I mean, who knows who could have sent me that? It could have been a setup for the lawsuit. I have no idea, So the answer is yes. And I've also received praise from people who've worked with Justin Baldoni in the DMs. So I need both.
But did you get any horror stories about Justin Baldoni before any of this went down?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you did? Okay. So,
yeah. But it was more about it was more personal. It wasn't horror stories about him on set, or it didn't seem like that there were coworkers who were sending him. It was more like personal things.
Got it. Okay.
About him in his personal life. So,
and this was outside the timeline where it could have been Blake and Ryan's team laying the groundwork.
It was way before the lawsuit, but now we know, like, this has been going on behind the scenes for months. So
yeah, in theory, it could have been just early on in like the press tour for everything.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who even knows? It was something I would have never published because it was very, very what the person was accusing him of was very, very damaging against him. And like I said, it had nothing to do in the workplace. It was something personal. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It was like someone he went to like high school or college with.
Interesting.
Huh.
Okay.
I stayed away from that one.
Yeah. Okay, I have one more question.
Yeah.
Really quick. Or I guess Lauren has a question.
I'm like, my eyes are
Lauren
bugging
just
out.
literally shot me the dirtiest look.
I'm like, well, I have a question for Deux.
Please.
Okay, well, thank you. I want to know a Blake Lively or two horror story in your DMs that's like pretty notable and that you trust.
I mean, I'd have to look up the name Blake Lively and see. I mean, this is like, I have stuff from Gossip Girl.
If you have anything off the top of your head, if you don't,
I don't have anything off the top of my head, but I mean, I could look in DMs or something. I don't know.
It's all good.
I don't have any.
But you guys, Jan's question.
You guys have to understand. I'm also like something happened to me in the past year. I don't remember anything. I have severe brain fog. Like so.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like asking me if I remember something is bleak.
No worries at all.
Yeah,
Okay,
don't worry. Also, Lauren, I think those stories just exist. I feel like we've heard so many things about when, on Gossip Girl, none of the cast was really friends with her. So
yeah, there was a lot of Gossip Girl stuff because I'm a huge Gossip Girl fan. That's like why I think people were saying I was also Team Blake. I've never hid the fact that like I was a fan of hers on Gossip Girl. So obviously I watched things that she did when she left Gossip Girl. But I could still admit that she sounds like an asshole sometimes. I'm not blind. So a lot of the early messages I got about her were from Gossip Girl because I covered that so much. And like little things like photo shoots, like if somebody was on a photo shoot with her during that time, they wrote in. It was stuff like that. And it wasn't anything egregious. Like she didn't do anything horrible. She just wasn't someone I think that people took to.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I want to ask you, just randomly, are you getting a lot of secret praise or like, don't share this, but like I had a great experience working with Blake and Ryan? Are there those types of DMs or is it really all negative? I know people are probably more inclined to write in about the negative stuff, but just curious.
Not now, but back when I'm saying that I covered Blake Lively, when I'm telling you I covered her and I did a segment on my podcast about her, yes, people had wrote in and said that she was lovely. But now it's like, I don't know what to trust because
I know.
Who knows what people knew that was brewing, behind the scenes for so long. But the answer to that is yes. For both of them and Justin. I just want to make that very clear. I received negative stories on Justin more personally and positive stories on him in the workplace. And for Blake, it was negative and positive workplace stories.
So Chandler has seen me like squirming in my seat because there is probably the most important part of all of this to bring up, which is how Taylor Swift plays into it. We are major Swifties, and so it's been a personal faith crisis, a dark night of the soul for us, this entire saga. We're dying to hear your thoughts. I mean, Daily Mail published an article. It said that...
this headline is chilling.
Yeah, it said... Well, do you have the headline?
I know it by heart.
Great.
It was... Literally in my brain, I'm seeing my Daily Mail, browser. But it was Taylor Swift is taking a step back from friendship with Blake Lively. Mm-hmm. Last week, this article was published in the Daily Mail.
Here are some quotes. It says, Lively appeared to threaten Baldoni by comparing herself to Game of Thrones character Khaleesi in a series of text messages in which she referred to Reynolds and her best friends as her, quote, dragons. The uncool and unnecessary description was reportedly the final straw for Swift, who had never planned to be at the meeting, but arrived at Lively's New York penthouse to find it was still ongoing. The quote continues, for the time being, she's taking a step back from Blake because she doesn't want to get tangled in this more than she already has, which is far more than ever needed to be. Her friends also think that Blake's I'm Khaleesi and like her, I happen to have a few dragons text to Justin was uncool and unnecessary because she was essentially used as an intimidation tactic. She was referred to as some kind of pet or possession. I mean, is this dropped by Tree Payne? What do you think?
No, absolutely not. You guys have been watching Candace Owens too much. No. Tree Payne is not going to the Daily Mail and dropping it. And I have on very good authority, they are still good friends.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, this was like giving me hope for Taylor. I was like, I can listen to her music again.
No, I have heard from my sources that it's not true. None of that is true. So I don't know. Like I said, everyone has different sources. I mean, maybe Daily Mail did have someone tell them that, but it wasn't Tree Payne. I mean, the fact that that narrative would even be created. Tree would never go to the Daily Mail and plan a story. She would go to Entertainment Tonight or, People Magazine, maybe, but not the Daily Mail.
Well, there was a Page Six article that followed up to it and said, no, they're still friends.
Yeah,
so a lot of people, was planted by Tree.
A lot of people said that. Like if you go back, I think like every other outlet besides the Daily Mail, including myself, had said that the Daily Mail article was not true.
Okay.
Also, for what it's worth, if Taylor Swift just, abdicated the friendship with Blake Lively in the wake of this bad press, it would be kind of rich coming from Taylor Swift, who, I feel like really clings to her friends who were true to her during her Reputation era.
It's true. She's had a few axes to grind herself.
No, I don't think Taylor Swift and Blake Lively are so tight. And, everyone who meets Taylor Swift or has encountered her says just like what a warm and lovely person she is and how genuine she is. I cannot imagine her just like dumping her. I can't.
So how do you reconcile this? Like,
right.
How do you reconcile Blake? You think she knew the whole time?
Yes, of course he knew. I actually heard very early on that Taylor was like, and this is obvious because they're best friends, was like sort of advising Blake, and that this whole lawsuit could have been Blake's $1 moment. You know, when Taylor's trying for $1. So I heard very early on that Taylor, as best friends do, I mean, they're best friends, of course she knows what's going on. And I even would argue to say that she might have seen the Khaleesi text. You show your friend text, do you not?
Yeah, but I think that's a pretty embarrassing way to position it.
I think they're embarrassing. I think that they're all cringe. I think that they're all cringe. I think they're all embarrassing. I think this is how they all talk to each other on a daily basis. So I don't think it's like anything weird for them. And I know people were upset about the Khaleesi remark, but I mean, come on. I mean, she wasn't saying anything that bad. She was saying that her best friend is her ride or die. That's what she was saying.
It's true. And even if, let's say, she was cringed out by that text, you can just hear the Blake Lively apology text or call that's like, I just meant you were always in my corner no matter what. And it's just going to be over in a second.
I think people made a bigger deal out of it because it's Taylor Swift. If it was, I don't know who else Blake Lively is friends with. I don't even know. If it was Cara Delevingne or Zoe Kravitz, people would not have batted an eye. They would have said that the text was cringe on Blake's part, but they wouldn't have made such a big deal about it.
So how do we reconcile the fact that confirmed nice girl Taylor Swift is
friends
BFFs with basically confirmed mean girl Blake Lively?
I don't know. How are Jennifer Aniston and Ellen DeGeneres friends? How is James and Harry Styles friends? I have no idea.
I mean, maybe it's just that, you know, she doesn't see that side of Blake Lively, because I'm sure Blake Lively just kisses her ass.
Oh, 150%. Like, if she's sending those kind of texts to Justin Baldoni, it's the text that she sends to Taylor Swift. That's what I want to say.
Because, it's fathomless.
Yeah. And, like, I want to see the text that, like, Blake and Ryan send back to each other. Like, these two are like, oh, my God, I can't. They're just like, I don't know.
Can we quickly just read the text messages where Blake talks about how she flirts?
Oh, yeah.
That were in the timeline.
Wait, can you also read the Ryan Reynolds text? Because I like...
Oh, my gosh.
It's so good. It's actually
so good.
It's so good.
So the Ryan Reynolds to Justin Baldoni text. That's what we should read first? Or should we read the...
Yeah, let's do that one.
I was having trouble reading these a little bit because they were so blurry.
Yeah.
Like, can't we get high-res screenshots? But
you can tell these are done by, like, a boomer attorney.
Yeah.
He, like, screenshotted it on his, like, iPod Nano.
Seriously. Like a picture of a screenshot. Okay, so basically, everyone... Justin Baldoni texts Ryan Reynolds at the, beginning of kind of production. This is in February of 2023. Just kind of saying, I'm going to be working with your wife, want to establish a rapport, whatever. I'll read it, actually, instead of summarizing it. I might actually need you to help me read it because it's, like, literally hard for me to see. Here, why don't you read it?
I'll read it. We'll read this in full on our next part, but I think the key thing is basically he's trying to establish goodwill. He basically says, I'm going to be working with your wife a lot. He kisses his ass from here to Timbuktu. It's just so cloying to read. It's literally painful. He's like, you guys operate and you orbit in different planetary systems than us mere mortals. I mean, I'm being hyperbolic, but that's exactly the tone.
He also says that that Blake had given him his number, Ryan's number, or like weeks before, but he was too nervous to text. Oh,
shut up.
I hate all these people.
So of course Ryan Reynolds texts back like a while later, and he sends back a very long message. At the end of it, and it's a nice message. At the end of it, though, he's talking about a schedule.
I think you need to read the whole thing. Read some excerpts from it.
I think we just want to get to the key part of this, right? We're only here to get to the ending.
I mean, I guess.
Do you want me to read this whole thing?
I mean, I kind of am in the mood to cringe, so
I think, and also I think the whole thing is just dripping with Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, annoyingness.
Okay, let's do it. Hey, Justin. Sorry for the delay. I've been in a writing cave and the girls are sick, ... again. I'm told they have an immune system, but it's in beta testing.
So classic. Like, literally, that could have been like a Deadpool joke. But it's in beta testing.
What a loving and generous message. Thank you. We're both looking forward to getting to know you and your family better. We're also big fans over here since before we met and more so after. You've been a wonderful collaborator with B, and that means a great deal to both of us. Being a stand-up person is everything, and you've been just that since day one. Thank you. You've hit You've hit the jackpot with B. She literally passes on every film and every filmmaker all the time. But one thing I know, and I speak of from a deep wellspring of experience here, having her in your court behind the scenes as a creative is invaluable.
I'm just picturing also Blake Lively, like, I'm not going to do a simple favor too. Sorry, I won't be doing it. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like really every filmmaker is just chomping at the bit. Like, I had no idea that Blake Lively was just so esteemed.
So esteemed. And she just decline.
Okay, he says, some of the greatest creative decisions I've made, he puts I've in quote, some of the greatest creative decisions I've made are in fact Blake. The same goes for X. He's referring to someone who's blocked out. The acting is a small piece.
Wait, do we think Taylor? It's Taylor? Was this after the meeting at the penthouse?
Yeah, I bet you it is, because I don't think it was after the meeting. It seems like this was really early on.
Okay.
But I bet you it was Taylor, because if you look at anything Taylor Swift has worn in the past calendar 12 rolling months, like that tracks.
12 years.
That tracks that Blake Lively had a key hand in those awful decisions. I mean, I'm sorry. Love you, Taylor, but okay. So he says, the acting is a small piece of a pretty astounding patchwork quilt of creativity. More than anything, I rely on her taste. Far beyond movies, I rely on her taste for all aspects of my businesses. That multi-dimensional creative output is something I can see in both of you. I'm excited for you to work together. I'm excited for Blake to crack open her creative piggy bank with someone as dynamic as you. This is going to be, all caps, incredible.
Oh my God.
I mean, you guys, we are halfway through. And thank you for understanding what it means to me personally to have my family reunited as soon as possible. Nothing means more to her either. I can promise you, we're hardwired for keeping our family together. It's how to win us and also how to kill us when we can't. We never split up. I mean, I actually think this is sweet. No tea, no shade on a man that wants to be near his wife and kids. He says, we never split up ever. It was a huge thing for us on this film. I tried to push our start date, but Marvel booked studios last July and X filming visits. Okay, it's very blurry, but he says, and I've been frantically smashing out my third pass of the script to address structural changes, but mostly to get our budget down and shorten the shoot so I can fly back with the girls when school starts. We see and appreciate that you already moved significantly to make it work with her schedule because of the film she'd already committed to, which thankfully she was able to gracefully punt. All this to say, I'd have your line producer's face tattooed to my perineum if he/she/they can figure out how to start 2 weeks earlier. Completely understand how big of an ask that is, but the perineum is one of the most nervy parts of the human body to expose to trauma. So, ... Looking forward to seeing you, and thank you again for all you're doing. I happen to adore you, Justin. XO.
I happen to adore you.
Wait, I don't understand how we went from like praising him to really at the end he wanted something from him.
Yes.
He wanted him to move the
shooting schedule.
It's so manipulative.
And it's just so heavy-handed and gross and crass.
It's just also so Ryan Reynolds. Like, yeah. This man, like, literally is very one note.
Yeah. Well, I mean, God, that
and the note is
text
cringe.
message. I can't even imagine, like, do you think also, after I read that, do you think he was like, look, Blake, this is what I sent Justin, and Blake was like, perfect.
That's
yes. So great. That's great. That's so beautifully written, Ryan. Like, I wonder if, like, they're, you know what I mean? And I wonder if she's, like, showing him.
It up.
Yeah, no, I think they eat it up together. But I'm saying, like, everyone is, like, analyzing all these text messages. My point is, I think it's, like, normal. I really do. I think it's like a little bit normal for this world.
Yeah, I think with a lot of these mega celebrities, they have so many yes men around them that suddenly their behaviors and how they speak and the things they wear, it starts to all give Emperor Wears No Clothes, where it's just like, it doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good.
Right. It's not funny.
It's not funny, but because they have everyone, they have all their like court jesters around them constantly like tap dancing. I think that they just lose touch with like how they're actually perceived and become so unself-aware, which is why I think it's actually very interesting to read the way that Justin talks to Blake, and then you read how he talks about her. Like he sends her a message that's all cloying and like, I'm so sorry. I did love what you put into this, and it's just going to be so incredible. And then he's talking to the producers or his fellow editors, and he's just like,
Yeah, but I also didn't think he was that mean about her to the producers or the editors. He actually, like, I feel like he, like, was trying to play, like, Mr. Neutral. He could have went off because at the time he didn't know that these text messages would be seen by the world. He could have been like, that effing B, like, she wants to see F her. She's not seeing anything. He wasn't like that at all.
No, he was super professional. I noticed that as well, that in all of his communication, I actually expected him to be venting more.
But he didn't vent at all.
He didn't really vent at all. I mean, he kept it all very professional, I would say. I mean, you could tell he was frustrated, but he was never demeaning to her, really, or even cruel.
You can almost tell this guy's like done a ton of therapy.
Yeah,
he's just like
he's meditated. Maybe he meditated over it, like, and then sent the text messages. Yes. But I was like, yeah, this is all very like calm and thoughtful. Like his responses back to the producers. I don't think people are talking about that enough too. And I think that there's so many layers to this case that people get lost in the theories. The batshit theories, you know what I mean? Not the ones that like make sense. Like what theory did I say? This is my brain fog. I said to you in the beginning, you made a good point that I hadn't heard before. It was about
it being her Deadpool.
Yes, that. Like I feel like that's a great theory. Like she saw this as a franchise.
Well, and that makes Deadpool. More sense than like they were falling in love or she was so desperately in love with him. You know, that just seems far-fetched to me.
Yeah, and reductive, and like you
said. Totally reductive, and like this is what it's all about. It could only have been about her obsession with him, and
yeah. Okay, Deux, I know we're at the end of our time with you. This has been so fun. I just have one final question that's kind of like, if that's okay. It's been one of my Roman empires, which, you know when you posted that Taylor Swift had a marriage ceremony with Joe Alwyn? We're moving on, you guys.
Yeah.
Like, where are we going with this?
And Tree Payne was like, enough is enough with these fabricated lies about Taylor from Deuxmoi. There was never a marriage ceremony of any kind. This is an insane thing to post. It's time for you to be held accountable for the pain and trauma these posts can cause. Have you ever heard from her legal team? What was the aftermath of that?
Because she like quoted herself and put it in writing, everyone was able to run with the story, you know? So I did receive a lot of like, hi, this is so-and-so from CNN. Like, you know, we want a statement. Hi, this is so-and-so from the BBC. Like, we want a statement. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I already made my statement. I responded to her. I responded to her publicly on my Instagram. And that's all I really have to say about it. And I'll just leave you with, I'm not a liar in general.
Yeah.
I'm not a liar in general. And maybe one day I'll do a tell-all.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I'll, maybe 20 years from now, it might have to be far out in the future. I'll do a tell-all about everything, and not just that, everything, because I think that there's a lot of things that people think they know, but they have no idea.
Well, I think that something to your credit is you saying like, hey, I got this message about Justin Baldoni, but I don't really want to read it because I don't know if it's true and I'm not going to put it out there. So it just goes to show that you are like really doing your best to be fair with what you publish and that you're not a liar, that is important to you. So Deuxmoi, where can people find you? I mean, I'm sure they're like, who is Deuxmoi?
You could find me on Instagram at Deuxmoi, Deuxmoi. You could find me on TikTok at Deuxmoi, Deuxmoi. I also have an app, Deuxmoi World, which is a catalog of all of our Sunday spotteds from the past 4 to 5 years. So if you're looking for a celebrity frequented restaurant or hotel, it's all in the app. There's also a bunch of reader recommendations from our lovely, well-traveled audience. So if celebrity is not your thing, but dining in hotels are in general, this is the app for you. We also put our newsletter on the app. So if you don't subscribe to the newsletter because you don't want it in your inbox, you can get it on the app. And a lot of exclusive information I put in that newsletter that I don't post on Instagram. It leaks its way on Instagram because the people who do subscribe always have questions and then they wind up asking like in a IG Q&A. But it's on the app, or you can subscribe to the newsletter. We also have a website, deuxmoi.world, a bunch of different articles written by AI. I do not write those articles because I do everything myself, so I can't possibly write all the articles. I do use AI. I don't.
Wow, you're a powerhouse. Truly, you're doing everything yourself. That is nuts.
I had to say that because somebody made a TikTok that was like, Deuxmoi is yelling at her readers. It was about Justin Bieber, and I'm like, honey, I did not fucking write that. AI wrote it. Like, I'm just feeding AI the information, and they're like writing the words. Because I think it said like something like, don't forget, like Justin Bieber, you know, is going through something. Like I even knew that Justin Bieber was going through trauma, okay? But yeah, no, I'm not, like, I am very transparent. I am not a liar. I have nothing to hide. If I make a mistake about something, I will correct it. So I don't need to lie, ladies. That's
Yeah.
I don't need to lie. I'm in my retirement. This is like a fun hobby for me. I lived a life. I've had a career. So I don't need to like lie to be successful.
Well, also you're kind of already there, you know? Like that was definitely a joke when I said, you know, where can people find you? Because obviously everyone knows Deuxmoi. You have millions of followers, so you don't need to make shit up to get any further.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This
This
has
was
been
so fun.
Thank you.
Thank
You're the best.
you so much, because actually no one ever asked me really where I stood on any of this, and I've never talked about where I stood. People just made their assumptions, which were completely wrong.
Right, of course.
Whoever listens to your podcast can see, like, you know, I have feelings on both sides, and at the end of the day, I need more information, which I think we all do. We all need filled in story.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much. This has been so fun, everyone. Go follow Deuxmoi, subscribe to the newsletter, download the app, and we will be back. Okay. We'll be back with part 5 tomorrow. So get excited.